So a surprise for me was the 49ers taking Trey Sermon in the third round. I was not expecting the 49ers to take a running back at all, let alone two. But kind of for the people in here, that are interested in, the 49ers and what they got going on at the running game, what can they expect from Trey Sermon? Like, what's your scouting report on him?
So Trey Sermon, I've tweeted a few times. I love the fit, mainly because he's a zone. He can play in a power scheme, but he's at best in the zone. He's very patient. You turn on the tape of him at Ohio State, you see them getting reach blocks, getting up to the second level, and him allowing his offensive linemen to do their job and get the work done. Open up these lanes for me. But one thing I love with running backs is I like to see if you can string together movements. So, okay, jump cut to one lane, stiff arm a guy, spin off a guy, and get in and get busy in open field. He's able to do that as well. He's not a burner. He's not going to have that 4.5 force, 4.4 type of speed that's going to get you the 80-yard runs. But he's patient, good contact balance. He's strong. Go back to that Clemson game. He set the tone. Like he was out there finishing guys. Like it legitimately was Mortal Kombat to him. It was finishing him at almost every run. He was giving guys stiff arms. He has a really strong core because you can see when guys try to attack him high, he's able to shrug them off and throw them off. He has good feet, a wide running base. One thing, and usually you hear this term with offensive linemen being waist benders. When you're running the ball, you want to keep your shoulders and your feet aligned so you keep that good balance. You don't want to be leaning over because the moment someone hits your legs, you're going to trip over and fall because all your weight is leaning forward. So he does a good job keeping a wide base. He stays pretty much upright for the most part. And like I said, he's got a good strong straight arm, good hands too. Out of the backfield, he's reliable. And I really like that about him.
Do you think because one second, when you were talking about like that wide base and that running style, that kind of reminded me of Marshawn Lynch. And I'm not saying he's Marshawn. I know Marshawn had that style where he was so strong and he was so like square with everything that he did. Yes. And it was so hard to tackle him. With him, do you think that his lack of production as a pass catcher was more a product of the offense? Because it wasn't like they were like, and even with Oklahoma, those aren't like quick hitting offenses. Yeah. A lot of times they, try to do things to push the ball down the field, and the running back, doesn't end up with a whole bunch of catches. I felt like when he did catch the ball, I thought he did extremely well. We saw that in the Clemson game. What do you think about him as a potential like legit threat in the passing game? Because my comp for him was Kareem Hunt, just the way he moved and not being like a blazer, but having that size and that nice balance. But Kareem Hunt, the one thing that everybody points to is Hunt being such a great pass catcher. What do you think about him, Sermon, as a pass catcher in the passing game?
So you bring up a good point. Bringing up production. A lot of people look at it like, oh, well, he didn't have a lot of receptions. A lot of times, that, like you said, that is due to the offense, and not just the offense. I mean, when I did a film study on Michael Carter a couple months ago, I told the guys online, I was like, listen, this is where you throw out the stat sheet. Michael Carter is a weapon in open field. Sam Howell just didn't throw it to him. I was like, so you can't really blame the running back, or you won't know what the running back can do until you watch the tape to see what exactly happened on those passing routes. But I think he has a good upside as a pass catcher. Not, he's not going to be Alvin Kamara, Christian McCaffrey out there in the slot routing guys up. No, he's not going to do that. He's going to be functional in the passing game. And it's similar to, I always talk about like Ezekiel Elliott and Derrick Henry. They're not going to run those routes, but when you dump it off to them, you get those big boys going forward full speed as a DB. That's not what you really want in open field. You know what I mean? Like you got this 225, 30-pound back running full speed ahead towards you. Like it's a business decision. So he can help in the passing game. He's solid in pass coverage as well. He's a guy who will stick his face in there and do his best to protect the quarterback. He also uses a good wide square base when pass protecting, but he's got soft hands. He tracks it well. And one thing I love about him they use him a lot on delays, where he kind of sails the block and then delays out and shifts out. He does that very well, where he drops back, looks like he's in pass coverage, and leaks out into the flats. And while everybody else is going vertical, there's nobody around, and he's good at that, getting out there, getting those open field advantageous situations. So I think to be personally honest, I think he has more upside as a pass catcher than Elijah Mitchell.
So what is your scouting report on Elijah Mitchell? Because he's someone The weird thing I saw was like at the Senior Bowl, he was like, 5'11" or 6 foot, 218 pounds. Then he goes to his pro day, he's only 200 pounds, so he lost like 18 pounds. He's labeled a speedster because I know he had the fast 40 time, but when I was watching him on film, he didn't look like somebody that is just super bursty and running away from guys in the sense of what you think when you hear 4.3 speed. Yeah. So, kind of, what's your scouting report on Elijah Mitchell? Because this is a guy I hadn't heard of or seen anything on him.
To me, I think he's a 2-down back. He has more juice in terms of long speed, of course, than Trey Sermon does. But like you said, he doesn't play with that 4.3 40 speed. I didn't see that on tape either. There are moments where he outruns defenders, but he has, and I meant to bring down with Trey Sermon as well and Najee. They have, for me, when I'm looking at running backs, I don't really care about your 40 time. Me personally, I'm starting to pay attention more to the 10-yard split because I want to see how bursty you are from the line of scrimmage to like 10 to 15, 10 to 12 yards upfield.
That's what Trey Sermon was like elite at, right? Like that 10-yard split. I heard it was like super high.
Yeah, like that 10-yard, man, is so important because if the offensive line handles that front four, front three, whatever, they handle the front, you get past the line of scrimmage. If you got the good enough burst, you blow by the second level defenders, you get into open field. Now it's a foot race where guys have to catch you rather than them being even with you and having a better angle. So that helps a lot. Well, Elijah, like I said, he's got good speed. I really didn't see the 4.3 at all myself personally. He's a developmental pass catcher. I didn't see too many reps with it when I did watch him on tape. He has a solid base. He's really an upright runner, though. Similar, like Najee's like that too. They're very high, like high-shouldered. Chest kind of stuck out. They're really high runners. You got to be careful with the Najee's probably be fine. Elijah got to be careful with that, in my opinion, because that's where you open because you give the defenders a bigger strike window. You got a blindside overflow defender coming from your blind side. They're gonna take you out like that. They're gonna because you have everything wide open for him. But I think him and Trey, to me, this is all up to Kyle though. Kyle likes he likes his 15 backs, right? So Kyle likes his 15 running backs. If he settles in on just a two running back rotation, I think Trey Sermon and Elijah kind of fit each other well, where they can kind of change the pace with them, and it will be really good, especially with Trey Lance in the backfield. Whenever he does start to take over the offense, it's going to open up a lot, but especially for both of them. Their best runs to me come when I in shotgun and out of pistol, because they're the type of backs that need that extra second or two to read and diagnose and then hit it. So like when certain guys can line up side by side with the quarterback, and it's fine. Some guys need to be a little bit further back simply because it gives them that extra time, and it allows those slow developing plays to develop, where they don't have to be in a situation where they're literally rushing and about to outrun their blocking scheme. Like there's a lot of plays, especially with Trey Sermon as well. Those kind of GT pulling plays, power plays, guard tackle pulling from the backside, and he just literally is just kind of trotting. And as they make contact, he blows through the lane that they create, and that's where that 10-yard split, that 10-yard burst comes in. Najee's good at that as well. We all know ETN's great at it. He's a 40-yard burst. It doesn't really matter to him. But I think Elijah and Trey for the Niners, I think you guys got two solid backs. I think Trey, to me, I know you got Raheem Mostert there and Jeff Wilson. I really like Trey's fit, and I think Trey could be that top back. The main thing for Trey is staying healthy, though. He got to stay healthy. He's battled some injuries, and if he can stay healthy, he could be pretty good in that offense.
And that's been the issue. I mean, when you start talking about health, especially with the 49ers, their backs, I mean, that's been the issue, guys, just kind of going down. And I know Sermon, especially that last injury with the broken collarbone, like I know it's a little bit more of a freakish thing, and it sucks because of how well he was playing down the stretch. Do you know, like, do you have any idea why his start to the season was a little bit slower?
So when I was watching the film from them from first game, they were rolling with Master Teague, the other back, early on. And, I don't know if they were just trying to work Trey Sermon in, but I tell everybody, man, similar to quarterbacks, running backs need their touches. That's how you really get a guy going. When, you're in a role when you get that 10 to 12 touch, and it's like, okay, but it's not, it can't be sporadic, right? It can't be, okay, it's been 3 drives and you haven't touched the ball. It's like, I'm not in the feel for the game at all. I don't have a feel for the defense. I don't know how fast they're moving, if they overreact to certain things. I don't know because I'm not out there. So early on, like, they really kind of slow cooked Trey Sermon. And then you saw, I think it was the Michigan State game, they started giving the ball more. He started catching his vibe. Then that Northwestern game, he just destroyed them.
Yeah,
like,
that was wild.
It was as a running back, it was beautiful to watch. Like, he did everything. And I would put up some clips of him and just kind of watching him. His pacing is so good when he's in his rhythm. When he's in his zone, it's like, I'm not going to overrun my blocks. His temperament is, okay, you do your job, O-line. And one thing I tell people, body maneuvering and body movement is so key in the alley, because there's the run that I put up, he takes it, and I always tell people, reading blocks is very key. When you got the solo blocks or one-on-one block, you have 2 lanes, a two-way go. When it's a combo block, you got 1 lane. And that's how you really can determine if a running back has good vision, especially between tackles. Because if he reads the combo blocks wrong every time, he don't know what he's looking at. Like, it's a struggle for him. So Trey does that very well. And on that run, he's like literally sitting in the pocket, sitting in the hole, and he sees defenders in front of him, like maybe 7 yards off, gives them a quick lean, gets them to shift their weight, then he breaks the opposite way. That's next level in terms of anticipating as a runner. You got to create movement and force the defender to get out of their stance. When these guys are square, they can shoot their hips, roll their hips, and make a solid form tackle. But when you get them to leaning the way you want them to, there's a play I got to put up on my Patreon, Breece Hall against TCU. He has Trayvon Moehrig about 15 yards off in the alley. He gives him a 2-step right and then left, and he leans in left. And when he leans in left, you see Moehrig shoot down, and he breaks right out. It was a score. Nobody was there. Trayvon came shooting down on his left shoulder, and he was gone. And it's like, that's why I talk about deplacing and replacing. Get these defenders out of your way. I know it's fun to see these angry runs and these truck sticks. Nah, if you want to score, would you get money for that? You got to get these guys out of your way. Make the path easier as a running back. And you're going to have your highlights where you stiff arm a guy into the second row like Derrick Henry be doing. You're going to have those. But the best thing for a running back to do, stay upright, stay clean, get to the end zone.